pumping billions of rand on SAA help Jabu in Mayflower because it services only the country's rich and elite? That's the question from Thabo Khumalo, tweeting at Mbuli Vuyo. Peter?
Thank you, Vuyo. Well, let's ask you directly. So I'm Jabu Khumalo, I'm in Mayfair. I'm never going to fly, but you're using my tax dollars to keep SAA afloat.
Actually, am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, it helps Jabu a great deal. It creates jobs. SAA brings tourists to South Africa. It brings business people to South Africa. It allows South African business people to travel abroad to make more business, invest more money, bring more revenue back into the country. It creates jobs, it develops skills, it ensures that we have got South African pilots. And actually, Jabu shouldn't be so despondent. Maybe someday he will fly.
Okay. All right. Table number one, Rajen Reddy. Table number one, Rajen Reddy, if you could, who's the question for? And then if you could ask it.
Thank you, Peter. This is for Minister. Good morning to you. Minister, I think we've done brilliantly well when it came to the policy of BEE and BBBEE. However, what we're finding is the supply chain management. I think the bottlenecks are quite stumbling to reach the supplier. And I think we need to look at that. How would you go about sort of smoothing out and removing the bottlenecks through supply chain? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much. You know, part of the reason why we held the Supplier Development Summit was to address the bottlenecks, to establish this forum of communication between state-owned companies and the different suppliers so that we can address the bottlenecks. I don't think people need to know the minister or have a connection for them to be able to talk to a public enterprise. They should be able to talk to them through the channels which are established, where there is no red tape, where there is an understanding of the policy objectives to establish, develop, support black business, small, micro, and medium business. So we are doing, taking those steps to address some of these concerns, but ultimately, the people who, once the policy framework is there, the people who must now crack the whip, because I can only crack the whip at the board. I've been asking the boards of Transnet and Eskom that you say you've spent so much money, so many billions of rand on BEE, on local content. Can you please show me where exactly, so that we can be able to point out at these people who've benefited from these programs? But the people who must ultimately crack the whip are sitting right here next to me, and I would like them, with your permission, to explain how they address supply chain red tape.
All right, very briefly. 30 seconds each. In fact, what I would like to do, let's take this next question because I think it's relevant, and then just a quick comment from the both of you. Tabiso Taka, table 28, if you could be brief with your question because I think it also ties into this.
I will be, Chairperson. Thank you very much. The question that I wanted to ask, Chair, is that the infrastructure development has to benefit black business. Equally, it has to address issues of growth in terms of job creation, skills development, and so forth. But what tends to happen in these parastatals, and I think the two CEOs of Eskom and Transnet can respond to this question, is that barriers to entry are put in place under the disguise of quality. Let's import it, it can be done locally. Under financial, in terms of bonds, guarantees that are required from black business, and they make it very difficult for black business to play in those spaces. And you have wide established businesses who have access to capital. They can go to the bank and get the 50 million required for a 100 million rand project, the 100 million rand required for a billion rand project. They have easy access to that, but we as black business, we as black entrepreneurs, have the difficulty of going to financial institutions to get that. Now, this is institutionalized in the case of Transnet, and I imagine it's the same at Eskom. How do they intend to deal with that? Because this disadvantages black business. So the creation of these black industrialists will be a dream deferred for a very long time if these issues are not addressed practically. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Quick comment from both of you.
I think what you're saying is that there is a problem in the economy of access to capital by black business to industrialize. And I think that is a problem that needs to be resolved with the financial sector. I don't know why we are scared of the banks and the financial sector, why we do not confront them, why we do not all start a process by which we can have this difficult discussion. I do not think that it will be prudent for us to require less in terms of guarantees prior to a project being done, because we're going to have a lot of problems if we do not follow the current procedures that we have to follow in any big program. If anybody says that they can supply a product of 2 billion rand and we require, for example, that we are going to give them an advance payment and we need a guarantee for that, that is very prudent, but it is a matter that must then be taken to the financial institutions. Why do the white established business have better access to capital than the black institutions? What is the financial sector's commitment to the empowerment of people? So I think we must take the problem to where it belongs. I do not think that we are saying here that Transnet or Eskom or the state-owned entities must resolve the problem of access to capital by black business.
From our perspective, yesterday at the supplier forum, we have given quite a great sense of which specific sectors we're going to focus on. We've set aside 42 specific interventions across our supply chain in terms of where we can assist. I think the Minister spoke about integration, so DFIs, state DFIs, and to what extent they can support black business. And we as Eskom certainly would support trying to find solutions to that. But it is important that I do demand the best quality, whether from a local supplier or from an international supplier. And we will commit to work with suppliers and develop them and assist them to meet our quality requirements, to meet those guarantee requirements. We can work with DFIs to see to what extent they can support and must support black business. But I do believe, I agree with Brian, it's something that we need to maybe work and now approach the DFIs from that perspective.
But the DFIs as well as the commercial banks about the attempts that they use for black business.
All right, so okay, on that, we're going to take another quick break, and then Masilela Jacob, table number 29, is going to be our next questioner. Stay with us.